Think of it as a giant fluffy potato pancake filled with cheese. We're making frico and I cannot wait to share it with you. It's a really easy, simple recipe. I was only going to share this on IG in a short little reels, but there was a lot of tips and tricks I felt like I couldn't fit into 90 seconds, so I wanted to share it with you. And it's a really great recipe to have on hand. It's a classic Northern Italian recipe, specifically, usually, authentically, you would use a very specific cheese, cow's milk cheese, which I can't get my hands on, but I'm telling you, if you just use mozzarella, which I'll show you a little bit later on, it works great. Let's talk potatoes. There's very many ways people make this particular dish. You grate the potato and you use it raw, or you can cook it ahead of time like I like to do because I feel like you get the best texture and it's much easier to work with. I have some potatoes that are already peeled in here. You need about 1.5 pounds, and I am just gonna cut them in half into nice large chunks, and I'm gonna add them to a pot with water. The water's still cold, I just put it on the burner. And with that, I'm gonna add a really generous pinch of salt because this is your only chance you really have to flavor the potato from like the inside out and make it very perfectly flavored and balanced. And these just need to cook until the potatoes are fork tender, but not overly cooked. You want to actually err on the side of undercooked rather than overcooked for this particular recipe because it really works best. So I'm going to say for a potato that size, 20 minutes right there. And once they're there, I'll let them cool slightly and I will show you the next step. Potatoes are fully cooked. They've been in here for a few minutes, and I also just took just a yellow onion and sauteed that. I diced it and sauteed that in just a little bit of butter. I just got that out of the way. You want that sauteed, set aside, and now we're gonna talk cheese. Traditionally, for this dish, you would use a cheese called Montasio, but it's hard to find. It is a milk sheep cheese, and you can also do something like a Fontina or like a Gruyere, but I think a mozzarella like this one, this is just a what is it called? You know, let me think. I took the label off. Of course I did. It's just one of those vacuum sealed little packages of mozzarella. It's low moisture mozzarella, which is the kind that you want. You don't want the fresh mozz that's in liquid because what that's going to do is introduce way too much liquid to this dish and it's never going to create that gorgeous golden crust. And it works really, really well here. So in a pinch, if you can get that cheese, which is traditionally made by monks, you could just use this and it gives you a fantastic result. Very beautiful crust, very delicious. And you need to either grate it or cut it into really small little cubes, which is what I'm doing. You want them to be quite small, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. The potatoes, I kind of go in here with the fork. You don't want them perfectly mashed, which is why earlier I said it's better to err on the underside versus overcooked, like undercooked side versus the overcooked side, because you kind of want them to be mashed, but somewhat chunky, because this is just going to help with that texture that we want. Think of this like a giant cheesy potato pancake. Okay, my dad loves this. Papa Sal loves this. He calls this, when he wants me to make it, he calls it my potato frittata without the eggs. So it's not a frittata at all, but that's just what he calls it. I'm not advising you to call it that, but you know how it is. Those are mashed up really nicely. They are already very well seasoned. I tasted the potatoes, they're fantastic, well seasoned. The cheese is salty. I added a small pinch of salt to the onions when they were cooking. So I'm not adding any additional cheese, but any additional salt. But I am adding quite a bit of black pepper because this is really fantastic here. And you can also add some speck or pancetta, cooked speck or cooked pancetta to this, nice and crispy. I like to keep it fully vegetarian, like without any meat, but you can definitely add some, just crisp it up first and add it right in. Very delicious. You'll get nice little salty, nibbly bits. But this is great. Now in that same pan, and I do think that using a non-stick skillet here is key to not having a stick, because cheese, when it sticks, hard to get off. So this works really well. You can use lard, or you can use what I use, which is just light olive oil. Let that preheat, adding my cheese straight in here. And now I'm just gonna use my fork to mix it all together. Take this right over. Beautiful. Now, what I'm gonna do now, I'm not gonna worry about compacting this down just yet because I'm gonna cook this, stirring quite often until that cheese is like pretty much fully melted. So I'm just gonna go ahead in here and just do this for just a few minutes until that cheese looks pretty much all melted. I can see and I can feel that the cheese is fully melted pretty much. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna flatten this, okay? Sometimes it's nice to have like a fork help you. Just flatten it. And you're just gonna cook this. You don't want the heat to be too high. This will take about 7-ish, maybe more, maybe less, minutes per side. I will show you how I flip it. You know, your burner is never gonna cook everything super even. So come in here and just turn the pan here and there when you need to. But what you'll look for is under here, you'll be able to like lift it because you're using a nonstick skillet. You'll be able to lift it and you'll be able to see that it's got a deep, deep golden brown crust. That's when you know we are where we need to be. But until then, just let this go. Now that is perfect. I can see it's got a gorgeous, gorgeous crust. See that? That is what you're looking for. That's the cheese right there. That is the cheese. I lowered it just a bit because I have to flip this. This is the easiest way to flip it, okay? You first just wanna use a fork or anything you've got to just make sure that you're not obviously scraping the pan, but just to make sure that the actual pancake or whatever you wanna call it, yeah, the side's a little bit, there we go. Now I got good feeling about it. And if something sticks in the center, do not worry, trust me. Pizza peel, it's always easy. Pizza pan, not a peel. Like that. Oh my, oh, that's gorgeous. Slide it right back in. Do not worry about a thing. That is absolutely, look at that crispity crunch. Can you even? I'm gonna marry it. I'm gonna marry it. That is, can you hear that? That is gorgeous. Okay, cranking the heat back up now because, you know, now I'm not gonna burn myself. This just needs to go for another like 7 to 10 minutes or so. It's done. It is fabulous. Fabulous, I tell you. Look at that. This is why you wanna use a nonstick skillet. You see how it just kind of slides right around? Let it go until the other side has that gorgeous crust, and then we eat. Look at how gorgeous this is. I flipped it over onto a plate. Now, I obviously made sure it was crispy on both sides, and you should really let this cool a bit because you should really be eating it more at room temperature. But honestly, if you can resist this, I'm not sure we can be friends because like a cheesy hot potato situation is not something that anybody can just easily resist. But when it cools, it will hold together much better, because obviously everything will set. Right now the cheese is literally ooey gooey and the potatoes are like super melty. They're so good. It's so good. It's making my mouth water. You know me, you know I'm a spud. You know I am part spud in my DNA. I love a potato. Anywhere you slice it and dice it, I am there for it. And look at that crust underneath. That's like all cheese, and that's what makes this so sensational. You have got to give it a try. Ha. You hear it, Con? I hope you can. It is so good. The texture, the flavor, the onion, it's a 10 out of 10. You must make this. Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. Alongside anything, or by itself with a little prosciutto on the side, heavenly. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh yeah.